Welcome to the Journey of Champions podcast powered by SportCirqls. I am Helgard and I have with me Matthew.
Thank you for having me, Helgard. Pleasure to be here.
At the Journey of Champions, we are talking to champions from various sports and careers and learn from their journey what it takes to get to the pinnacle of sports. Today we have a guest who has made it to the pinnacle of his career. He has gained a PhD in human and movement science. He is a PGA coach specializing in youth development. He is the first PGA coach in South Africa that gained a PhD. He has developed a framework that helps young golfers become professional athletes. We've studied together. He's a great dad and family man. Fanie Roos, welcome, Fanie.
Thank you. Thanks, Helgard. Thank you, Matt.
Fanie, can you just tell our listeners just a little bit of background about yourself, where you grew up, and and where did it all start for you up until where you started your studies at Potchefstroom? Can you just give our listeners just a bit about how you grew up and where you grew up?
So I was born in South Africa, Vanderbijlpark. So it's south of Gauteng, for those of you who don't know. Did all kinds of sports from a young age, tried everything. Rugby, for instance, wasn't my strong suit, but I used to do cross country and cricket and, all sorts of things. Played rugby at home on the grass, as Helgard would know. That was huge when we were kids. And then I started playing golf when I was about 7 years old. My dad cut down an adult club and told myself and my brother, let's go. But he didn't pressure us at all. We used to mess around. When I got older, we used to play at the golf course. My friends weren't members at the clubs, so we used to go before they opened up so they didn't have to pay. So we climbed on the bicycle, put the golf bag on the back, then we drove to the golf course. Back then, we used to pay 5 Rand to go play. I don't think anybody will know, but Helgard should know how cheap that is. It's ridiculous.
That's very cheap.
I used to go play like 18 holes and then have a quick lunch and then play another 18 with whoever there is. So I loved that. I played in the school system as well for golf. I wasn't ever the best player, but I used to love helping people from a young age. And that's how my journey started. And then I went to Potchefstroom to do my undergrad studies. From there, I went to Tux to do my honors degree. And that's where the journey started, actually. When I was busy, I walked on campus in Pretoria and I saw a poster there saying, do you like golf? Do you have patience? Do you love kids? And it was like tick, 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 all the tick boxes. Took the banner, phoned the guy, and that's where I started golf coaching. So I did play golf coaching
awesome.
in Pretoria East, working for a franchise for someone else. And then at one stage, I bought the franchise. I also did play ball coaching back then, which is ball sports and all motor skills and stuff. And then at a certain stage, I realized, no, I need a golf qualification because I had like my honors degree, but I didn't have a golf qualification. That's when I decided to do my PGA qualification. I then went to go work at Legend Golf and Safari Resort. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's where you fly up on a mountain and you hit from the bottom, from the top down on that par 3. So I used to work there. From there, I went back to my roots in Vanderbijlpark. I worked as a pro at Makofla Golf Club, where Scholl Swartzel was. He was a member there. He grew up there. So I've been all over the place. And from there, I was a school teacher at a primary school. And then from there, I moved to being a lecturer at the Northeast University in Vanderbijlpark. And since I took that poster at Tux, I haven't stopped coaching. That's nearly 20 years back. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
There's so much when you just gave your journey or your story and your background. There's so much to unpack, but I want to go right back to our childhood. And I don't think what a lot of people realize is in South Africa, when we grew up, and even with you, Matthew, you're a bit younger than us, but even with you, Matthew, in South Africa, you are exposed to a variety of sports. Yes, you've got some dominant sports, and your parents, I'm going to use the word force. Your parents force you to take part in sport without pressuring you. So it's just something that you do in South Africa as a young person, that you do sports and you get exposed, and that's where you I think for me, that's where my love for sport began as well, just because I got exposed to a variety of different sports. And now when I'm sitting in front of the TV, I can almost follow any sport, and I understand it, and I like watching it. So it's really important. And another thing, Fanie, when you're growing up with your dad, you said that your dad basically made clubs for yourself and for your brother. If you can highlight one memory that you had with your dad, because sport is all about making memories and forming relationships with people. Can you maybe highlight one memory that stands out with you and your dad and your brother playing on a course that really cemented or that got stuck in your brain?
Yeah, so it's not actually playing on a golf course, but we used to, my mom's sister used to live in Nelspruit. It's up in the north in South Africa, and they used to have like a guest farm, so it's quite a lot of space there. And
Yeah.
myself and my brother and my dad used to build ourselves golf courses around the lawn and stuff. And then there was trees, and it's up and down. And I think that also helped with creativity, because you'd learn how to like play funny little shots and, enjoy it, but it gets that creativity going. And there was also a park near our home, about, yes, I want to say about 100 meters from the one side to the other. And I used to take my pitching wedge. Back then it was a number 10 club. So you had, you have 4 to 9 or whatever. Back then the pitching wedge was a 10. So I used to hit across and across and across. And I remember, I'll never forget it. I used to play the one time, and I chipped. So you chip into the bowl of the tree, right? That's the hole.
Yep.
And we used to chip. And I remember it so clearly. I missed one, and I was so mad. I took my club and I threw it I hit it against the tree. And it had like a little dent. I was scared, walking back home, tried to bend it back, and it broke. My dad was livid. It was the only ever thrown a club again in my life.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny that you say about some memories. When I think about golf, one of my memories is now I'm not the greatest golfer in the world, and I started quite late. But my first competition that I competed in as a team was in Bethlehem in the Free State in South Africa. And I remember it was a competition for the whole town. And then on hole number 2, it was closest to the hole. Now, I got not knowing much about golf, got my driver out on a par 3, and I completely shanked it.
Oh.
It hit a tree. I hit a tree, came back. It landed about 30 centimeters from the hole. I won closest to the hole that day.
That's ridiculous. You know how many guys get hole-in-ones like that? I've seen people hit it in the tree, a useless shot, and then the ball goes back in the hole.
Yep. No.
I actually played with... Now, continue, sorry.
You go. No, you
So
go.
I played actually when I was busy with lessons one day. So I usually, I coach, I've got a golf coaching business called Fanie Roos Golf, which has also been going for forever. So we go at the golf course at Mfuleni, and I played with one of my juniors. So we drive with the golf cart around the course and we play this hole and we skip the next one, we play the next. So we get on the fourth hole, I think it was at Influeni, yes, fourth hole. So I'm like, let me just hit one with you just for fun, Got onto the back tees, 7-iron, boom, in the hole in one. And then it doesn't even count because it's not part of a normal golf round. That was also funny.
Yeah, so, and you mentioned McCofley. You said you because you grew up in the Vaal River as they call, or not Vaal River, Vaaldriehoek and Vaal Triangle. Yeah, that's it. That's the word I was looking for. My uncle used to work at Eskom at the big power station there, and he was a member of McCofley. So during my school years, I played quite a bit at McCofley.
Okay.
So I know it quite well. Yeah, I know it quite well. Now, I was going to ask you, so you already mentioned your dad being quite a big influence on you as a youngster and exposing you to different sports. Besides your dad, who would you think was another big influence that influenced you a lot around your sporting influences, but also not just your sporting, but also your education side, where you went into education? Because we tell our young athletes a lot that they need to have mentors, they need to build relationships with people. So besides your dad, who else influenced you a lot in your early years?
So in the early years, I know you're going to say not my dad, but I have to mention this and then I'll go to the next person. So when I was busy with my honors degree, I'll never forget it. I was busy doing sports science and I didn't enjoy it because it was all this gym stuff and I wasn't into it. And I realized I didn't want to wake up in the morning at 5, go work at a gym, train someone. So I just realized I didn't want to do it. But I was busy with my honors degree at the time and I wanted to stop. And my dad said, listen, don't stop. Just continue, finish it, because nobody will take it away from you and you're going to regret it if you stop. And that was huge in my academic career. And then after that, going with my master's degree and my PhD that I completed, my wife has been incredible. She spent so many hours with the kids. When I had to come to the office on the weekends, come work on the studies. At night, used to go get the kids into bed, and let's say from like 9 o'clock, then I walk out the kids' room, one of my boys' room, and then my wife would, do everything else. And then I would sit at work until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. She even took the kids away for a week just to give me time. They went to the bushveld, which wasn't the greatest. I wanted to go, but I realized how important that was. So the influence, and she always kept me going, motivated me, and yeah, that helped a lot. Also, I think. Sorry,
yeah, we always say to our young people, young athletes, that it's really important to have a support structure around you. You can't do it alone.
Yeah, that's huge. That's one of the main pillars of my framework as well, is having that support system. It's so important. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle.
Did you ever see yourself going down any different career path other than golf or coaching through your development?
Not really. I didn't. From a personal point of view, and I've never seen myself playing on the tour, for instance, being a golfer myself, standing on the range, hitting ball after ball after ball. I've always had the love to teach other people and other kids to do that. I've had one kid just now, he was with me for many years, so he moved to a different coach. And at one stage, so in between my lessons sometimes when there's off time, I used to still chip with him and against some of the others. And then I used to see stuff mentally that's not there. So I phoned his mom and I said, listen, do you mind if I still spend time with him? You don't have to pay me. I'll do it for free. Doesn't matter. And it's the mental part is so huge. He used to go when when we chip against each other, then there's, let's say, myself and another golfer, but we're better than him, like stats wise, on the scoreboard. But then he would like take a step back because it's these good golfers that's playing with him. And I started working with him. I said, listen, stop that. Get your head up, get your chest out, start believing in yourself. And he did so well in the Free State Open that was held, I think it was two weeks back. He did the best out of all of them. So that kind of satisfaction I absolutely love. Or when I give a lesson and something just clicks with someone and they get it, and that smile they have, yeah, that's golden for me.
It's interesting. We spoke to an ex All Black in one of our earlier podcasts, and he played rugby in the mid 90s to early 2000s. And it was interesting what he said was that when he started playing rugby at a professional level, the mental side wasn't big at all. But as he became a professional, he was surrounded by people that were professionals, like athletics or power lifters, not necessarily rugby players, for example. And they said to him, no, you need to focus on your mental strength. Yes, you can work on your body, but they prepared him for this mental strength. And he said to me, that's the best thing he ever did, was following them from a young age and making sure that he's mentally ready for all the challenges that was about to come. So the mental part is huge.
Massive in every sport, and golf so much.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because in golf, you have to. I'm going to compare this to the rugby player we interviewed. In rugby, if you make a mistake, you can hide behind 14 others that supports you. In golf, that's you and your caddy, or just you at some times. So you have to be mentally really, really strong and be able to reset yourself. Now, Fanie, if I can ask you, while we're talking about that, what advice would you give a young player if they're getting frustrated on a golf course and they're getting quite angry with themselves? Like you said, you threw your club. What sort of things would you recommend falling back onto to actually calm themselves down a little bit?
So there's different studies done on that. So there's one side of it. Some people say, or some research have said, that you need to get it out your system. Sorry, guys, it's my stupid light. It's on a timer.
That's all right.
So some people say that you have to get it out your system. So like get angry, get over it, and go on. I'm not a great advocate of that because it's not, it's not a great image. It's not great for you. So I think they have to enjoy it. They have to start realizing. I often tell kids, especially, you could have been in a math class. You could have been sitting at the office. You're playing golf.
Yeah.
So relax. It's okay. And also they must start realizing that you are going to make mistakes. It's that acceptance. And I think the other thing is also they need to have a process. So there's a psychological process called Osveya, where you go, O is observation, selection, visualization, execution, and acceptance. And I think once they get into that bad habit mode, thinking of a lot of things, a lot of negative things, once you get back to a process, take each shot. I know it sounds like a cliche, but each shot at a time, doing your process, I think that helps a lot. Looking around, laughing, smiling, stuff like that. It sounds simple, but there's actual research that says if you smile, if you laugh, if you think of other things, look at the trees, stuff like that, that helps. Look, I'm not a golf psychologist, but those are the things that I've learned as well. There's one example I want to use. So
you go,
Jordan Spieth played in the Masters one year. Was it Jordan? Yeah, it was Jordan Spieth. He played in the Masters, and he was leading by many shots. and at Amen Corner, don't know if you know that hole there. There's a
Yeah.
lot of water, very difficult, and he was in the lead. So his ball was right in front of the water. It's many years ago, and he hit it in the water. I think he hit it in twice, and he lost. And afterwards, they spoke to him. They said, "Okay, so what went wrong?" He said he broke his process. He stood over the ball, started thinking of negative things, and he used that Osvea process. He used it at the time, and I'm sure he does now. Jason Day does as well. And he said,
Yeah.
when he did that, when he went to the when he went to the execution, negative thoughts came into his head, thinking of, "Yo, I shouldn't hit this in the water. If I do that, I'm gonna lose," or negative thoughts like that. So yeah, that's very important.
Finally, just coming back to your journey and what you've done. So you've got a PhD in human movement and human movement science. So can you just explain to people what's the focus of that degree? Because a lot of people sit here, or a lot of our listeners would sit here and say, "Yeah, I don't really know," but they might be interested in actually going that pathway in their studies. So can you explain a little bit more about what it focuses on?
So I'm just gonna take a step back. So when I started coaching, I had a lot of questions of parents, and I'm sure you guys get it as well. How will my kid become professional? How is he gonna do it? Help me. And I got it often as a golf coach, and I started to develop something to see if I can maybe develop like a blueprint. Like it won't be a blueprint because every individual is different, but there might be guidelines. So I did my master's degree, and I looked at what do you need to do to become from a junior to a professional, how to get there. So I went to PJ professionals, did interviews with them, and I asked them, what do you guys think? What do you need to have? What kind of aspects? So I developed the framework. Then I went to my PhD, and I did a systematic review, which is a very, very specific way of researching what has been done all over the world in golf. So I looked at what do you need to have from junior to professional, and once you're there to be successful. So that's what I did first. I looked at what the research said. Then I went to Sunshine Tour Professionals, which is the professional golf circuit here in South Africa, and I interviewed how many golfers? I think it was 17 golfers, all of them in the top 40 in the country. I had interviews with them, and I asked them, what do you need? How's your journey been? What's been your pitfalls? What has made you be successful the way you are? How do you do things? How do you practice? What's been the most influential? How do you see your social support structure? Do you see yourself as a brand? Do you think that's important? All those kind of things. And then from there, I took my master's degree framework with my the systematic review and the interviews. I put all of that together, developed the framework, which I'll show you later. And then I took that framework, took it to experts in the field. They evaluated it for me, and then it was finalized. So that framework basically is a guideline for parents, coaches, everybody to go from junior to professional, and once you're there, to be successful as well. It's not a blueprint, as I said. Each individual is different, but it will definitely help.
So, Fanie, it's quite amazing that you mentioned how you came about producing this framework. So, at SportCirqls, what we do on our platform, we've realized that there's a gap in the market. A lot of young athletes, they don't know where to promote themselves. They don't know where to how to create a CV, for example, or profile. We don't call it a CV, we call it a profile. How to create an effective profile. And then once they've done that, what do they do with it? And how can they actually monetize their profile? So what we do is we basically provide the platform for them to create their profiles, to put them in connection with the right people for universities or professional sporting bodies, and then also a way for them to actually monetize their profile so that they can be so they can sustain themselves financially as well. If they're at that stage where they are in between a amateur professional sportsman, then they can actually sustain themselves through our platform as well. So it's interesting that you've recognized within golf that there's a gap in the market of people don't know how to make it to professional, and
Yeah.
and so we've basically gone from a little bit of a different angle, but also realized almost the same gap in the market, and saying, listen, young people don't, or parents do not know where to go. If they've got a talented individual or a kid who is really passionate about sport, they don't know where to go. So we are just guiding them to the right places.
Yeah, that's massive. You guys are doing such a great job. I mean, that's crucial for even some of the guys that I coach. I know that they want to go overseas to one of those colleges and go play, but I don't think they know how to get there. So you can always put them in
So
contact with you, and then their journey starts.
yes. Fanie, would you like to share? I've got your framework open here. Do you want me to share your framework, or would you like to share it?
Yes.
And
I took the golf ball as like the framework, because you can't have one part of the ball without the other. So if you have if you start with the inner core side, right at the top, then you'll see it's a soft part. Okay, so if you look, you need a supportive developmental environment. So you need, as we said before, you need that social support system, not too much pressure. You need a good coach. And that's also crucial. You need a good coach, because if you have a bad coach, you can either not enjoy the game anymore. You can have faults that it's going to hinder you in your progress later. So that's important. Not too much specialization as well. That's also crucial. And I'm sure you guys know that. Like Helgard said before, we as South Africans used to play all kinds of sports. And that's so important. Specialization only happens for males at around 12 to 15 years. Then they can specialize in one specific sport. But beforehand, do different kinds of sports. Yes, you get your cases where they are young and they just specialize and it works, like Tiger Woods, for instance. But it's really that works. And then enjoyment. They have to enjoy it.
Fanie, can I just interrupt? Sorry to interrupt you, but can I?
No problem.
I really enjoy what you said, the specialization part, because a lot of parents think if my kid needs to make it for professional, they need to be specializing in a sport from the age of 8. And I think you're so right, because if you expose yourself to different sports, a lot of the skills from different sports are transferable, and you develop skills, the different skills in different parts of your body and different parts of your brain. And then later on you can specialize, but you can transfer all those skills into the sport you want to specialize in.
Yeah, and it's crucial. It's not just research that says it. There's physical examples. Take Ernie Els, for instance. He used to be a tennis player, magnificent tennis player. And I'm just using a few examples. AB de Villiers, fantastic in tennis as well, rugby as well. Usain Bolt, I think he did either basketball or cricket, I can't remember. Dustin Johnson used to play basketball. Jordan Spieth used to be good at, I can't even remember, I think also baseball or something. So even the top guys that's made it, there's evidence that you have to have other sports. And it teaches you failure. If you're in a team and you fail, teaches you failure, teaches you how to do that, teaches you big motor skills, those things that you need. I had a kid, just on specialization, I had a kid that had lessons with me forever. And once I told him, listen, do you do any other sports? Because I struggled to get his balance right. He couldn't get that finish that you need in golf. And he said, no, he doesn't do any other sports. And he was about 14 years old, just golf. So it's crucial for you to do other sports. And then on next point, there was financial resources. Unfortunately, that's one of the aspects that's very important. You need the finances. And And also, you need that support from your parents or from sponsors. And because of that, I advocate people being kids starting their own personal brand, because you are a brand. On the course, where you practice, you need to have a proper image. You can't dress like a, swear, throw clubs, stuff like that, because you need to get sponsors. And to get sponsors, you need to have those kind of things. I've also written a paper on that, on personal branding, how important that is as well. Then phase 2 is where you get a bit more specific. Now it's psychological proficiency and talent. You need to have a certain amount of talent. That's just the way it is. But then you need that mental skills. You need to have a personal identity, work ethic, determination, perseverance. Those aspects came in huge with every pro that I spoke to. Determination, work ethic. You need to work hard. If you think you're working hard enough, it's not enough. You need to work harder. And also what I've realized is once you get onto the tour, often players want to change their ways into doing what other professionals are doing. And it's not always the right way. You are yourself. You have to have that own personal identity. Yes, work on your skills, work on your swing and stuff, but don't change who you are to fit the mold. Because there's some professionals that go and play practice rounds and they gym every day, and that's 100% do that. But then there's other professionals that it doesn't work for them. Beforehand, they just have a few putts, they do a little bit of physical training, that works for them.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting you say that, Fanie. We spoke to an ex-All Black, Andrew Blowers, and we asked him if he can give. And you see, this is where skills and things are transferable from one sport to another. We asked him if he can give any young rugby player or athlete any advice, because he's already retired. He's been through the mold. He's reached the pinnacle. And he said when he came into the professional setup, he was in a team with a lot of superstars. And he said he really had to work hard to be him and not try and follow and emulate the superstars. And he said if he can give any young athlete advice to say, be yourself. Don't try and do what other people are doing to fit the mold or go with the flow. Be yourself and be true to yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think learn from others, yes, because there are guys that's good and they know what they're doing. So learn from them, but be yourself, because otherwise you're not going to work.
Yeah.
And then on that phase 2, career management, decision making, so important. If you make wrong decisions throughout your career, you're going to struggle. You have to realize also that it's a lonely sport, golf. So when your mates are going out a night on the town, you're going to have to realize sometimes that you can't do that. You need to practice, or you need to get home, get in bed early, stuff like that. So that's also very important. Then phase 3, the mantle. So now it's getting how do you coach? Competition specific training. So in the beginning, it's a lot more fun working on your swing, and now this is massive. And I've incorporated this so much in the coaching that we do. Is coaching techniques, variability, and deliberate practice. So you need to, there's ways and means to practice. So there's guys that can hit the ball well. So I've developed a kind of a method around, you never stand on a golf course hitting a 7-iron from the same place, from the same spot over and over again. You never do that. So why do you practice like that? Yes, there is stuff in your swing that you need to fix. Yes, that's true. So what I do is you stand on one spot and you hit a driver into a target, for instance. And then you walk 5 paces to your left. There's another station there. And then you hit to like 150 meter mark or whatever. Then after that, you walk another 5 meters somewhere else and you chip towards the green. And then you start again at the beginning, at the driver. So what that does is that emulates what you do on the golf course, right? Because you hit walk. So that teaches your brain how to remember how to hit again. So that part is so important in that part of the framework. And then also one other aspect is correct equipment through custom fitting. Often people think I'm a salesman because when they hit and I tell them, no, you need a different club. But it's so important. And you also need to realize that I've learned from some of the golfers that I interviewed, you shouldn't adjust to your clubs. Your club should be fit for you. And that's important. That's a different mindset, because people think that, okay, I want that driver, so I'll adjust towards it. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the other way around. Then again, financial resources. It even gets more difficult here, because now if you don't have finances, look, your parents are going to support you more often than not up to 18 years, let's say. And then from there, it's kind of, in most cases, your own responsibility to get the finance. So if you don't have a sponsor, if you don't have someone backing you, then it gets tough. Then you have the financial pressure. I've spoken to former Sunshine Tour professionals where they said they drive in their car to the coast for a tournament, play the tournament, sleep in their car. Next morning they play again. And if they don't make the cut, then it costs them money. Then they have to drive back. And then you have them. Can you imagine on the last hole, you got a putt to make it in order to not lose money. Not make money, just not to lose money. So that's the pressure, financial pressure, that guys need to understand. And that's why I'm so big in the branding side of it. You need to have yourself as a brand, get a sponsor, so that they can support you.
And can I come in here? So well, it's really important. That's why we've seen in the market through various sports as well on our platform that young people are sometimes just a little bit hamstrung, or not just young people, but I would say amateur sportsmen who's trying to make it into a professional setup, are sometimes hamstrung by finances. And that's where we've created that you can customize your fundraising, for example, on our platform. You can customize your sponsorship, and you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. So you're basically making money on your profile by selling some of your profile real estate and to sponsors worldwide. So just because we realize there's a lot of young athletes that are missing out on opportunities because they don't have the financial backing. So that's what you're saying right there is transferable right across to any sport.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's going to help athletes so much to have that platform and give them a real pathway to get where they want to be. Definitely. And then the next part. No, not at all. So the next part of the framework is team of professional staff. I think what I've realized is that there's not just, we're so used to thinking that as a golfer, you've got a coach. You've got one coach, that's it. And it's actually so far from the truth. So golfers these days have to have a short game coach, a long game coach, a mentor, a proper caddy, golf psychologist, physical trainer, physiotherapist, manager, or an agent, because each one of them has a huge influence on golfers. Caddies, for instance, is massive, because you can make or break it with the caddy saying the wrong thing or whatever. So that's so important that guys understand that there's not always just one coach for you. Yes, there are coaches that can fulfill all those sections, but it's going to be really tough. You're going to have to know your stuff to do that.
But that's why some of your top golfers, when they go through a slump for a couple of years, they might go through a slump. The first thing they change is their caddy.
Exactly.
Because the caddy is the person who influences them on the course.
Yeah. I spoke to one professional lady with the interviews, and she said that the youngsters these days, when they start out, they don't understand the value of a caddy. She said that lots of them would rather just carry their own bag because it's too expensive to pay a caddy, but they don't understand what a difference that caddy can make. It's so important. And I think that
Yep.
personal relationship with regards to a caddy is so important. Often you don't need a golfer. I need someone to walk with me, crack jokes, talk about the braai we're going to have, stuff like that, to get you off your mind off of that. And once you get into your shot, now you focus. So yeah, that's that's also important. Then, guys, the next one is physical conditioning, warm-up injuries, fatigue level, performance enhancement. So I spoke to a lot of guys, lots of them train, others don't. But if you are unfit, then your fatigue level is gonna really, you're gonna struggle. Because I've seen that guys at the back end of a round, let's say from hole number 14, 15 or somewhere there, then often your performance goes down because you're not fit. And then you make mental errors. That's where it gets in. Also, with regards to nutrition, okay, I think I've jumped the gun, but I'm speak about nutrition now. Guys don't eat well as well. Because Helgard, if you play, what do you eat halfway? Burger and chips? Or a eggs and bacon.
No. No, if I've done it once on the 9th, I tried to eat a meat pie, and I really struggled to stay awake for the next 2. So no, you have to replenish yourself. So
okay, then you're on the right track. You're on the right track. But many guys, they eat like a pie and chips, and they drink a Coke. So you spike up your sugar level, and once you go down, then you man down. So there's many research that said that you need to have like nuts or biltong or jelly sweets or something that you eat just a little bit, a little over while you play, so you get that level up. So it's stuff like that that's important. And then as I said, the mental skills, once again, so important. You have to have that. You have to understand that you're going to have failure. You're going to fail. You're going to struggle. But you need to get on and go on and on. And then the last phase, lifestyle habits. Lifestyle needed for success, self-care, nutrition, sleep. I don't know if you've heard about Whoop, that armband that you wear. So almost every golfer that I spoke to wore that. So they look at their nutrition. They look at their sleep. They look at their lifestyle. There's one of the golfers that said that he stopped drinking alcohol completely, and it made a huge difference. So you need to have a look at your body and your lifestyle as well. And you need to understand that it is a lonely lifestyle, but if you want to make it, sometimes it's going to be, that's the way it is. I saw a lot of research as well. Guys think it's this glamorous lifestyle when you're a professional golfer. Not always, eh? If you Rory or those top guys, Scotty Scheffler, yes, then I'm sure it is glamorous. But for the other guys still wanting to make it, let's say a tournament starts on a Thursday, you get there by the Monday. Tuesday practice round, Wednesday practice round. Thursday you play, Friday you play. If you don't make it, you're back home, going back home. If you make it to Sunday, great stuff, if you make the cut. But there's no traveling, looking at the world, stuff like that. Often guys say they just go have a meal and they go to the hotel. That's it.
Yep.
So guys need to understand, if you want to really make it, you need to work hard. It's not going to be as easy. And there's some stats that's frightening, and I don't want to put people off, but 0.006% of athletes actually make it to a professional level. And that's a crazy amount.
And fun. That's why I think it is. I truly believe that for any sportsman, you need to have a bit of a backup. You need to have something. I always say the sport cannot define you. You need to have something outside of the sport that keeps you going as well, and you need to have a backup, because, like you say, it's the percentage of people making it into professional sport is very minute. So you have to have, as a youngster, you have to have backups, and you have to have other things that you can fall back into just in case it doesn't work out?
Definitely. I think one of our friends, Helgard would know, Franco van der Merwe. He used to
Yes.
play at the Leopards in the Northwest, and he went to the Lions to play. He went to Ireland to play. And what I've always admired about him is there was always something at the back. He also studied a lot. He had properties. So as Helgard said, it's so important. You need to have something on the back, on the side. I've often told kids as well, when their parents say no, they have to go study. Sorry, he's going to miss the lesson. Then I say, listen, I don't mind. Academics comes first. You really have to have that backup.
Mm.
And apart from the fact that you can fall back onto something, it teaches you skills that you actually use in your golf. It teaches you perseverance. It teaches you to work hard. Teaches you to work with to be able to fail and to get up again. So it all links in.
Yep, it does.
Okay, last section. Then I'll stop rambling. Sorry. Then
No,
the course management side of it, strategic planning, shot selection, and decade golf. I don't know if you've heard of decade golf. It's huge. I spoke to lots of golfers that use that system. So it's stats based. So what this guy did was, it's Scott Fawcett. He took stats and he looked at where guys hit the ball to get the lowest score. Where do guys have to putt? For instance, golfers always say you have to putt the ball past the hole in order to give it a chance.
yes.
And there's stats that he used to say that that's wrong. It's the worst advice ever. Especially from a long distance, you need to get the ball to be short of the hole, so you can just tap it in. You get it past too far, let's say 2 meters. Now you got a putt against the grain back. If you miss that, then you're in trouble. So there's lots of research done on that as well. There's a system where you, looks like I'm promoting decade golf now, but there's a system that you get a membership and you put your stats on there, and that helps golfers as well to realize where you need to go on each. So they've done like stats on courses. So okay, on this hole I need to be there. This hole I need to be there. Work on where do you miss the ball? If you miss it to the right, aim at the correct spot. So if you miss it, that you're not in big trouble. So yeah, that's also very important. Then financial resources, as I said, personal branding. It's huge in golfers. I'm not going to ramble on about that again, but yeah, that's important. And then the mental stuff. You'll see how important the mental side of golf is. You can see literally phase 2, 3, and 4 have the mental aspect in it. It's so important for guys to have that mental aspect. Work hard, work through it. And I think often guys want to have a pretty swing, and it's not needed. So that guy that kid that I worked with, he was textbook, getting the club at the correct spot, perfect. And then I'll go to him and say, listen, what are you worrying about? You got a perfect swing. Get the ball in the hole. Get your head up. In Afrikaans, we say windgat and arrogance. I'll almost try and told him, listen, get some arrogance going. Not arrogance, it's more confidence. But I wanted him to put your chest up, almost believe in yourself. So yeah, that's so important. Yeah, that's the framework, guys, in a nutshell.
Now, Fanie, I think that's an awesome framework, because you focused on golf, but you can see so many similarities if you transfer that to any sport. And I think a lot of parents, if they can look at this and then they have a guideline on what to do and where to and how to do things, which leads me to my next question is, these days with professional sport, like when we grew up, not all sports were professional. It was still very amateur. Not all sports were. There were some sports, But golf has been a professional for a long time. But these days, it feels like people are scouting people very early on. It's almost the younger they are, people want to scout them. And then what advice would you give parents of let's say if they've got a talented golfer who is 10 or 11 years old and they get approached by somebody and say, listen, or 12 years old, they want to represent this golfer. What is your views on that, and what advice would you give them? Remember, I'm just asking for your views here.
So I think it's great if you've got a talented kid. I think it's great that if people see you and you've got a great opportunity to have like a financial input into the kid's career, that's great. But I think you have to be very careful who you sign with, because some people might give you wrong advice and then you're off the track. So I think for parents, I think they have to like really research the person or the company that's approaching the individual, and make sure that it's the best path for him, not for them. And don't be afraid to ask. When I say ask, I mean, if they want to represent you, then you've got something to give them. So then you have to get something in return. But it's, as I said, that's also part of the framework, is that decision-making part. I spoke to one of the professional ladies, and she said she made the wrong decision when she was just turned professional. She got someone to represent her, and he guided her completely in the wrong direction. And that puts her career back by quite a while. So it's important that parents research, make sure it's a great opportunity, but be careful. Yeah, that's what I would say.
And on the same line, so let's say the parent gets a very good agent, which we all hope agents are all good. Now the parent thinks, and Fanie, you've got kids, I've got kids. And now the parent thinks, okay, but I'm going to be their manager and I'm going to be their coach as well. Can you what's your views on that? And can you maybe just point out some pitfalls that you think there might be for a parent to be the coach and the manager?
So from personal experience with my own kids, they don't listen to me. My oldest son, yes, he listens to me. The youngest one, he doesn't care. So I've actually put him in a golf program that's not coached by me. And I think parents have to leave their pride alone a little bit sometimes. Do what's best for your kid. If you're not the manager, if you're not the coach, it's fine. As long as your kid gets where he wants to be. Don't get me wrong. I keep an eye on that other coach and see that he doesn't mess around. You know, I'm not standing there at the lesson every time next to the lesson and like that. But I'm well aware of what they do, and so. And then I've seen that parents and kids can fight a lot if they're their caddy or their coach. And then often kids perform better if parents take a step back. I've had a girl that's in the US. She plays at college golf now. But when she was here with me, her dad used to caddy for her, and they used to fight completely. And every time her dad were not the caddy and someone else was, she used to do well. So parents have to be very aware of that, and that's where you need a good coach. A good coach need to be able to see that it's not working, and then advise the parents and say, listen, I don't think this is working. If you want the best for your kid, maybe do this or this or this.
And I think that's really important, because I think from a parent's perspective, the lines between being a coach and a parent can sometimes be blurred. And like you say, my son doesn't listen to me that often. And so I think where a coach can give constructive feedback and tell them that you can do this better, you can do that, whereas as the parent, you can then be just supportive. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, just be supportive, yeah.
on that, have you ever? I don't know if you've seen a documentary called Trophy Kids.
No.
It's interesting. It's a lot about golf. There's a lot of golfers in there, and a lot of NFL players, and it's all about parents trying to be the coaches and over pressurizing the kids. And the result is, especially in the golfers, the result was there was a lot of fighting and arguing on the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that. And that often happens in golf, eh?
Yes, because it's such a individual sport, and like you said, like we mentioned earlier, the caddy is really important. So if your dad's your caddy, then or your mum's your caddy, and you don't get along and you fight, then that's your whole game down the drain.
Yeah. I've seen research also, which was quite frightening, that dads often have a negative effect on the trajectory of kids in golf and in sport. Dads have to be so
Yep.
aware of what they do, how they do it. Mom has got the supportive, softer side, but dads often want to push them, and they have to be aware that you can't push them too hard. If you push them too hard, they're not going to enjoy it, number one, and then they're going to stop anyway. So then you lose everything.
Fanie, just getting back to
Yep.
the playing side and information an athlete will have on their profiles, what would you highlight as areas that are the most important if an athlete were to make a sporting CV?
So I think, unfortunately, performances in big tournaments, did you do well? I think that's the most important thing for guys. And I think if you just look at the profile side of it, but I think you guys cover this, it has to look impressive as well. I've seen CVs. I know you call it profiles, but I've seen CVs, and it looks like bland and black and white. It's so boring. So, and I think players also have to market themselves. What are you going to bring to the company? What are you going to bring them is except the good scores. So the good scores, yes, you need. But what other things do you do? Do you have a good image? Do you have a social media presence? Do you have followers? I know often these guys look at how many followers guys have. What do they post? Do they post ridiculous posts or whatever? For myself, on a personal note, I've often read stuff on social media, then I so badly want to comment and just tell these guys what the heck, and then I just leave it. Because it's important. If you're going to sponsor someone, if SportCirqls are going to sponsor someone, you're not going to sponsor someone that comments this and that on every social media
No.
and posts this kind of pictures and that kind of pictures. But that's what I always try and instill in these guys. I tell them, listen, you're a brand. From the beginning that you start with your lessons, you are a brand. I hope that answers your question, Matt.
Unfortunately with young people these days, living in the digital age and social media age, I often say to my son who's 15 now, I say to him, you have to remember whatever you post online or whatever you say online stays there. Doesn't matter, you delete it, somebody can go and get it again. It stays there. And so you have to be very mindful of what you do and how you do things.
Yeah, definitely.
Fanie, I just wanted to ask, you run the Fanie Roos Academy. Who is your ideal target market, and then as well the main purpose of what you guys are trying to achieve?
So here in the Val, there's not many PGA coaches. There's a few other guys that coach, but our academy has gone for nearly 20 years, I think. We used to do lots of juniors, but we don't do a lot of juniors. We do have junior classes from about 6 years old. Now we do literally everybody. We've got a 6-year-old, and then I think the oldest person I've coached is like 65 or 60, somewhere there. So we coach at Heronbanks Golf Golf Club on Mondays and Tuesdays at Heron Banks in Volpark. And then on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, we coach at Infuleni Golf Club. So we teach them the full swing and teach them short game, chipping, putting. And then we also take them on the course to have that physical playing on the course, not just standing and hitting balls all the time. And what makes us different is it's all research-based and it's experience as well. I mean, I've done it for 20 years, as I said. So a lot of the stuff that we do in the framework or that I researched, we actually do. And we try and do it, disciplined and do it that way. Try and give a good service, obviously.
Finally, lastly, I just want to ask you, how can people get in touch with you if they listen to this podcast and they want to get in touch with you in regards to coaching or your academy? How can they do that, and where can they go?
So I've got a Facebook page and an Instagram page as well. Facebook is Fanie Roos Golf, and then also Instagram, also Fanie Roos Golf. So they can just send a message on there. My details are on there. If you just go to Google golf coaches in Vanderbijl Park or Vol Triangle or whatever, my name is up there. I'll be more than welcome to assist. If they want to just read some of the research, you just go to Google Scholar, you press in there Roos Golf, and then all the research that I've done is there, so they can have a look at that as well. That's it.
Fanie, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I think it was a really informative discussion that we had. And I think a lot of parents and a lot of young people can benefit from what you've created, especially with your framework. It's a really interesting guide. And I think, like I said, it's transferable to any sport. So thank you for your time, and thank you of sharing your knowledge with us.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to share. I love, as you could have seen, I like rambling on about this. It's because it's a passion. I love it, and that's why I can keep on talking for days about this. And there's so much more actually that we didn't even cover. So, no, thanks a lot.
We might get you onto another podcast as well.
I think so. We have to.
Yeah. Yes.
The next time I'll get one of my golfers. I'll get one of my golfers on, and then they can also talk about their journey.
Awesome.
Yeah,
We'd love to have them.
Great. Thanks
Matthew,
a lot.
thank you. Matthew, thank you for your time. If you are looking to get discovered, pathways in sport, set up your sports CV or profile, place to fundraise for your sports career or sports trips, go to SportCirqls.com and sign up or download SportCirqls app from the App Store or the Google Play Store. If you like our content, please subscribe and follow us. SportCirqls, your journey, your story, your future.